Hello and welcome to my post chapter 2 thoughts and ideas, theories, little bit of section. I decided I want to do this after each chapter, and this one hopefully isn't going to be nearly as long as the first. But we had a lot to get through in the first, so I understand it taking a little bit longer. Chapter 2, let's start with what we got right. First of all, Maki is not the ultimate child caregiver, at least that's not her primary ultimate that we're being told about. I do like this idea that characters can have a second ultimate, but I don't like the idea that these aren't explicitly mentioned to you. Like, you should know straight up that they are the ultimate this and the ultimate this. So that's one thing, right? Straight out the gate. But we also predicted that she would also be the ultimate killer in some aspect, and as the theory, I don't know how I didn't know how well known this was, or if this was just like something I picked up on. I'm guessing that obviously the greater, wider Danganronpa community knows that this is a thing. I didn't, but I realized that Toko was revealed to be like the ultimate serial killer with genocide Jack inside of her in Danganronpa 1 Chapter 2. We knew that Peko, who was the ultimate swordsman, was revealed to be Fihiko's henchman and bodyguard, effectively, and a killer in Danganronpa 2 Chapter 2. So it fell into my mind that we would find out that Maki would be the ultimate killer of some sort in Danganronpa 3 Chapter 2. And lo and behold, we guessed where she would be. Well, we got the chapter it was revealed in. Yes, it was right at the end, but we got that right. We also knew that Kokichi was being smarter than were led to believe. How he managed to get or know, I don't know how he knew that Maki was the ultimate assassin, but he is smarter than we let on. That we were believed anyway. That's something we got right. We didn't get Himiko being able to use magic, but I think there's still time for that. There's still time that she could have the ability to use magic, except from the fact that her using this trick here was a bit meh. The next chapter is called A Transfer Student from Beyond the Grave. Now, we haven't got to Chapter 3 yet. We haven't touched it at all. But I'm saying that this is likely Rantaro. I think that Kurumi and Ryoma are dead too soon to then come back. It's a bit too quick for them. Especially as I think we've got everything we kind of needed from Ryoma. If we didn't get that thing where we found out what was on his video, then I would have went, oh, actually, maybe it won't be Ryoma. Maybe Ryoma will come back and we'll have him, tell us more or something. And Kurumi, well, we've just seen that play out. I don't think Kurumi's coming back. But we also did predict that a Monokub was going to die as well. Monosuke has now died. And that just leaves the three of them. I'm guessing then that Monodam's going to be the last alive. Because Monodam seems to be the one that's killing them all. Unless the other two then cooperate to kill Monodam. But yeah, anyway, the transfer student from Beyond the Grave, I don't think it's going to be Ryoma and Kurumi. I don't think it's going to be Kaide, because either way, if my Kaide is the mastermind theory is correct, then Kaide would serve more purpose coming back later than in Chapter 3. And story-wise, Kaide has more potential to be influential while dead than alive, with Kaide's wish being a thing. Rantaro has kind of been forgotten about. There's still the mystery of his question mark, how he died, really knowing about the door, why was he there? So, I still think he could be the so-called traitor, but I think that Rantaro will be the one that comes back. Um, but there's also the idea that I mentioned before, how the one who died to the mastermind comes back. Junko, in quotes, died to Junko. Obviously, this wasn't actually Junko, but that's who we were led to believe. Nekomaru was killed by Monokuma and was brought back as Mekamaru. So Rantaro was killed by Kaide. And if Rantaro does come back, maybe that's more evidence that Kaide is the mastermind? I don't know. But let's get on to what I predicted about Chapter 2 while going and playing through the story. Now, I put this down in Discord, I didn't make a video about it, because this was my ramblings at the time. But I believe that Kurumi would be the victim, not the killer. And it's my fault for being so one-directional about it. Well, as I explained here, I'll read it to you, right? The chapter so far has really set her up. The killer would likely be someone not at the Bug Club. Kurumi wasn't at the Bug Club. I also said other likely victims, and I really like this because I didn't realize it at the time. But I started this off, I said other likely victims are Ryoma, Kaito, Kibo, Himiko, or Angie. And I started it off with Ryoma. And my explanation for that was Ryoma and Kaito had too much story focus. So it really threw me off for a lot of the Chapter 2 story when Kaito had a lot of suspicion thrown at him because he didn't have a alibi for the entirety of the book club stuff. I still think that Kaito's going to die soon, though. I really do. I feel like he's really carrying the story so far. And therefore he needs to go. If you know what I mean. I said that Kibo has been proven to be powerful with his tape recorder function. Makes him a target. But the only people who would know that would be in the Bug Club. I therefore think he will die by somebody in the Bug Club who knows about it. And I think that's something we've got to remember in the future. But I also said Himiko and Angie, I can totally see them had shit going wrong, killing one of them, and we have to find out who sabotaged it. Which, I predicted that the crime would happen in the magic trick. Which I'm half right about. But it wasn't Himiko and Angie, obviously. So obviously I said that Kurumi, the chapter had set her up. And someone in my Discord asked, what do you mean? So I went, well, Kurumi has been everywhere. She's been relied upon by everyone. So that's making food, going and dropping food off to Maki, who's guarding her room, literally walking out all over the place. She's the person who's supporting everyone the most. She's the one person Gonta, the strongest character, couldn't get. The game has done a lot this chapter to give her the focus indirectly, which is just like mentioning her in conversation, but not directly pushing her. And as everyone relies on her, what's going to cause the most despair and room for growth than watching her die? Which technically did happen. So I kind of predicted that in a sense. Also, after doing literally all of her free time events, other characters would reveal something. So Mikan in the second game found out she was abused, or Chihiro in the first game, from one of my best moments of Danganronpa, was able to predict, because you asked about her being a female programmer. But Kurumi's entire thing was that she's a person that can laugh and joke deep down. That's literally her final storytime event, like free time event. There's nothing bad, only good there, and characters with no flaws don't have room for growth. And they tend to be killed off to create growth in others. Kurumi is likely killed or used by someone to kill in their stead. I got that wrong, because Kurumi was actually the one who killed for themselves, but not for themselves, for everyone. So I want to say that's half right. Someone used by someone to kill in their stead. I think she was used by literally the entirety of Japan to kill in her stead, at least in her mind. And also the Himiko Angie thing, I feel that's the most likely. We know Tenko was jealous of Angie's brainwashing, and we know Kurumi helped with the setup. So that was me saying that either Himiko or Angie or Tenko would basically set up Kurumi to kill. So that was kind of like my predictions going into it. Obviously, at that point, I hadn't seen the crime. I hadn't done any of the investigating work. But then we get into the actual investigation and trial itself, because I did it all in one stream. Check me out on Jellyfishy8 on Twitch. Subtle plug. So first of all, I what I liked about this chapter is that it is very standalone. Like, it places mysteries like the horse A statue at the very beginning, the fact there's no bugs, and Gonto at the end saying how there's no stars. I think that's a really interesting. Oh no, there are stars, they're just not the same. I'll get back to that in a minute. Remind me about that. It's a YouTube video. You can't remind me, but hold on. So I liked how it placed mysteries, but it doesn't touch them. It just leaves them there. But how to say? I like the crime itself. It reminded me very much more of the original Danganronpa 1 crimes. Where it was just, right, you got to go to this place and this place, and it seems out of stretch, but we're going to give you half of it. We're going to say, this is the bit you can get. And for me, that was because I was able to accurately predict how, where Ryuma was, like, very literally before any investigating work. I went, well, Gonto would have seen Ryuma in the tank and tried to fish him out. He didn't, so Ryuma wasn't in the tank, and the only thing we saw enter the tank were the piranhas. Therefore, Ryuma must have been protected by some kind in the piranha cage and dumped into the actual tank. And as soon as we got the Monokuma file to say that he drowned, I was like, yeah, so he's in that tank. He was killed beforehand, put in that tank. Brilliant, easy. But the problem that I have with this chapter, well, there's two bits that I don't like that's been focused on in this one, is one, being forced to lie. The game really presses for a strong part about the fact that there's no alibis, and it's Kaito and Maki without alibis, and one of them had Ryuma's motive video, and that something between the two of them would have took place, and they've got to really just argue against each other, and Kokichi sets it up, and I really like that idea, because it feels like a thing that Kokichi would do. It feels like something that the others would kind of agree to. Be like, yeah, let's catch them out in lies. Let's get them just talking and see where we can just catch them out. I think it's a really good strategy. It's quite good. But the problem is, for some weird reason, we're told, yes, we believe in Kaito, because Kaito believes in us. But Kaito also believes in Maki. So we're gonna lie to defend her. We have no reason to lie. Now, sure, true, I didn't at any point to think that Maki was the killer. I thought Kaito could have been, but I didn't think Maki was the killer. So while I had no reason to lie, the game forced me to lie to really defend Maki when we had no reason to. In that situation, I could have just lied even more to say, actually, I saw Kaito slip away to kill Ryoma. Or and you could have just lied in that sense. To throw Kaito under the bus. So, I don't like this lying aspect, because it feels like, instead of relying on evidence that you find to direct you to where it is, it's relying on, this is what we tell you that is going to happen, and you've got to lie for random people that you don't know. Now, I believe there's a point where you can lie, like, on your own back in that one. And I think that was near the end. And it's like you're saying, actually, I do have an alibi for this person, something. Or I had an alibi, or something like that. You could lie. But it's not like that was your only option. And I think that's how lying should be. Only in the one specific scenario, at the very beginning of chapter 1, trial, where you've got to lie to kind of help Suichi in that situation. I think that's the only reason you should really lie. And I think a great part of that was that you weren't Suichi. I feel like it's bad for Suichi's character to lie. I think it would be better for Kaede to lie, but not good for Suichi. I think it adds much more character growth and depth if Suichi. You could choose whether Suichi starts to lie based on him being influenced by Kaide, and then that changes the story a little bit, like little bits of suspicion. People don't believe you at little points in the game. Because this is the thing, if you're leading the investigation, it would just encourage me to go, well, I could lie about other things in the future and everyone would just believe me. Because that's twice I've led the investigation. And pretty much everyone has just believed what I've said. But the other thing that I don't like, and this is the main gripe for me, is the idea of plot twists, where they're not needed. There is no point for the game to tell me to go and collect alibis for different characters for a specific time period. That time period is not when the crime took place, and the only reason we know that's not when the crime took place is based on alibis, right? That we then have to lie about. If we didn't have to lie about alibis, and the entire plot twist is it didn't take place at that time because we know about it from the alibis, then it just seemed like really, really dumb. Like, if the game wasn't directly pushing us towards the book club pit and the time between 8 and 10 for when Ryoma died, then sure, absolutely, 100%. I would have turned around and went, actually, yeah, I think the crime scene might have happened at night. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, from the gym, it could have went through the pool. What is that window on the other side of the pool that we've had to investigate before? Okay, where's that? But it just really annoyed me with that. And the other thing that I want to say that really annoys me, and it's another just slight thing, and I mentioned how I like the idea that characters can have two ultimates, but it shouldn't be all of them, it should just be rare occasions. Ryuma, if we are supposed to know that Ryuma is the ultimate prisoner as well as the ultimate tennis pro, then that should be explicitly stated, not just the ultimate tennis pro who happened to go to prison. Maybe that was in his free time events, as I didn't do them, and I do want to redo them because I do like Ryuma as a character. But that's the thing, I didn't like the fact that we didn't know that. Anyway, we're now going into chapter 3, and characters that I still don't know why they're alive are here, but my prediction for chapter 3 is that we're going to have Rantaro die again, because I feel like he's going to come back and then die straight away. But I also believe that we're going to see someone killed twice here. We're going to have two people die, and then the Blackened. Because that's typically how chapter 3 works. You had in the first game, you had Celeste kill Hifumi and Taka, and in chapter 3 Danganronpa 2, you had Mikan kill Ibuki and Hiyoko, I think. So if all of those, if that theory and that thing carries on, we're going to see 3 people die here. And talking about something interesting is Gunter saying how there's no bugs. Gunter also saying how there's no stars, or the stars are different. Why did Kaito, the ultimate astronaut, not be able to pick that up? Gunter makes sense because he's lived in the wild. So what does that mean if the stars are different? It means that the stars are either painted on, or it means that we're in like a very controlled facility. You know, that would explain why there's no bugs. Or it suggests that, like Danganronpa 2, we're in a game where it's textures and graphics, and that's why there's no bugs, because the bugs don't need to exist. The characters I do believe to die in Danganronpa Chapter 3. Let's see, I think Kaito might die. I think Kibo might die. Rantaro I think might die. Migi, I still don't know why she's alive. I feel like she might be a Sonya, where I think that she should be dead, or the killer, or something, for the entire game, and she somehow makes it out alive. And I really want Angie gone. I don't know why she's still here, but again, she might be one that just annoyingly survives the entire thing. But I think that's it for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and I will see you all live Saturday, hopefully. Maybe even Friday. Who knows? I'll see you live then. Bye bye.